is a skateboard P. Do you know what this means? And my continuing mission to explore. Lord is so good. You know, it's the reason why life, like they dress for the intention of gifted by it. For a lot of us when we're young, it's like, oh, who say this is gonna be a hit. Believe that like Teddy Riley.
Name an artist you liked from childhood, someone you listened to as a kid. Can you tell me someone?
Stevie Wonder.
Okay, so if you were...
Man, legend, bro. Banging that shit.
Yeah, that shit tight. Appreciate it, man.
Hold Up is the shit.
Hold Up.
For like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's been tough for me to get back to Japan, but I had to.
Yeah.
Like I missed the whole 311 thing. Like how did things happen? That's so true. And I like that. I like how you refer to it as the eye orientation, because it is. It's the sickness. It's the ego.
Yeah.
You're curious in what you can do next.
I heard on Stern you had a
bag looks like a bed sheet is hanging out of the other side of his hand. All right, B. Take care, G. If I gave Rob that huge bag, it would ruin it for me. Like, what's this? It's stupid. I don't want this. What is this? You got no excuse. You got no excuse.
Okay, good looking, G. Appreciate that.
Now you gotta play it. It's gonna be disrespectful if you
What
don't
is
play
this,
it.
though?
Madden.
Word?
Yeah. The PSP with Madden. I known Rob for like over 10 years. I never met nobody like him in my whole entire life. That's what makes us best friends. It seemed like everywhere we went, there was like a mob of people behind us.
Jay.
Good luck with it, man. All right?
Skateboard, he too grown.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
The crowd grew bigger and bigger, so mall security came over with management to make sure that we were okay, and they sort of ushered us around the mall.
Keep it down, man.
All right? This record, I was like, you know what? I really want to feel it. I want to get high off the music, man. I want my body to fucking feel something. I miss that. Because shit is so disposable. You know, I never take any of this for granted. Because I've been doing it for so long, and I can't believe anyone still gives a shit. When I first got in the music industry, Khalees was a dear friend and an artist that we had on the label. All I used to wear was Ralph Lauren, and she used to tell me all the time, like, you have to diversify. You can't just wear polo all the time. You know, you have to check out Versace, you have to check out Prada. Most of my style just comes from like things that I see on like everyday people who are really living their life. Like they dress for the intention of what they have to do that day. A guy that works in lumber or a truck driver or an athlete. It's the way that they wear them that inspired me to go, oh man, I can take that and do this with it. In school, like we looked up to Tribe Called Quest. We looked up to De La Soul. They were wearing leather medallions at the time that had like Africa and pro-black and like Malcolm X and all these interesting schools of thought that pertain to our experiences as African Americans. And I'll never forget the day I looked up, fast forward, being such a purist. I went to a BET show and they brought back Slick Rick. Just so crazy with the diamond eye patch. The rest of the show, it might have been a good show. But from that point on, all I could think about was the conversation that I was going to have with Jacob the jeweler about what we were gonna make. That was an era where like being gaudy and being braggadocious like was a cool thing to do. Now it'd be incredibly cringed out and embarrassed. But that duality, that fight between where I come from and then what I felt like I had to prove, it took a long time for that to like just bubble down. There's no college course on like how to start out in our business, you know? You just do a lot of dumb shit. Then you realize it's not really about that. Becoming a dad and recognizing that there's a much bigger picture and becoming a husband solidified what it is that I want. It has a particular way. I mean, there are very few artists just super simple, just come to the studio totally on time and
Go in the booth and gets out.
Yeah,
Right.
and leaves. It's very rare.
Do you have a favorite artist to be in studio with?
I like to work with them all. Yo, your mixtape is crazy though.
Appreciate it, man.
I was just telling your manager we was banging that shit in Japan.
Pleasure, bro.
Banging that shit.
Yeah, that shit tight. Appreciate it, my nigga.
Hold up is the shit.
Hold up.
Hold up.
Oh yeah. My nigga. Yeah.
That shit. And I love all that jazz shit that y'all have in your music. That's the shit, man. Do not lose. Who's the producers?
Appreciate it, man. Do the sound right here. You do about 8% of the joints.
Appreciate it. Very good work, my friend.
Man, coming from you, that mean a lot, man.
Nah, man. So it's like interesting to me that you guys did harder music, but with like the chords.
And that's funny that you said that. That's the exact thing we was going for before we went in with the project.
Oh, man.
Hard shit with the chords. He said that.
Yeah.
Verbatim. That's ill, he said that.
And you go in and what's that record where he was killing at the end of it? When I was 17, almost every song that came out just seemed like it was the best thing in the world.
Pharrell was definitely into music. He was passionate about it. He loved it.
We were the weird guys. You know, the guys that like were unafraid to say, yeah, we like Sonic Youth. At the same time, we like Public Enemy. So we couldn't believe that like Teddy Riley, of all people, moved his studio to Virginia Beach, Virginia, like a 5-minute walk from our high school.
Teddy Riley is probably one of the best music producers ever.
So of course, we stalked him. We jumped out of bushes. We rolled from under cars. None of that worked. So finally when we were like, okay, whatever. But Neptunes was the name of our band. Then we just had like a talent show.
There was one scout.
And he kind of discovered us and said something to Teddy. And then before I knew it, Teddy gave me a shot at writing his verse for Rump Shaker. And the next day, it was recorded. I was like, wow, this is how it works. It eventually reached double platinum. I was so excited.
We got signed to Teddy Riley's record label, which is Future Records.
There was nothing bigger or better than Teddy Riley back then, so it was an honor. I mean, it was just a big honor.
And all of a sudden, the weirdos were winning. Out of nowhere, we had gotten like some kind of like decent local fame.
He was the man.
We were on a high for a very long time. That was the coolest thing in the world. Europe for like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's been tough on me to get back to Japan, but I had to.
Yeah.
Like I missed the whole 311 thing.
Yeah.
Like how did that affect you guys?
Japan is like an earthquake country. You know, we've always had earthquakes, but 311 one was big. The buildings across the street were like shaking hard.
Phone disconnected. In a train stop, the street was filled with people, and you know it was blackout in some places. So it's like there's no lights, and I feel like, are we in a movie? Like, is this really happening?
We came back, switched on the news, and we saw the whole tsunami go down, and I'm sure you guys have seen the footage.
A large tsunami is moving across Japan's landscape, tearing down everything in its path. Fires are breaking out, as you can see. This is live coverage in the Sendai area of northern Japan.
Next day we woke up, it was like, okay, do we need to go get food and water? Because everything got cut off. Like, Japan is so abundant, everything is so available everywhere. Like, imagine water just being sold out everywhere.
Yeah, nothing
just
on the
things
shelf.
that we just
No
like
bread.
take it for granted. It was like not there anymore. And then during that time, a lot of foreigners actually took off because we had this Fukushima situation. But a lot of news weren't being aired in Japan.
We were told 3 partial meltdowns, don't worry about it. Now we know it was 100% core melt in all 3 reactors. Radiation, minimal that was released. Now we know it was comparable to the radiation at Chernobyl. It's still a ticking time bomb.
So they're gonna go back to nuclear or?
Yeah, we're stuck with it. Like, what? Are we gonna just like rely on winds and water now? We can't. We use so much. This is like Neon's nation, like, you know?
It's ironic because that whole nuclear power is what brought Japan to this economic state. You know, it boomed because of that, because that was a catalyst to make everything happen so quickly, you know? But then at the same time, like a little tipping of it caused this much disaster.
And I think in that sense, it woke a lot of people up, and it woke up this country. It was kind of like sleeping for a little bit, in a sense. And it took people really out of their comfort zone.
We had this triple disaster on March 11th, and we call it 3/11 after 9/11. It was like my generation, Hiroshima. It's got that big impact.
I was in my friend's 50s Chevy, and my friend's car started like pumping, you know? And I thought he more
intrigued.
So tell me what intrigued looks like for you.
Intrigue for me is, first of all, this moment is intriguing. Doing this with you right now, that's intriguing. But for me, musically, I feel like I'm not one of those guys that are like, you know, oh, this is a 9/8 time signature. This is amazing. That just feels like math to me. I think I get blown away by chord progressions that make me feel something I've never felt before. Like, to me, chords are coordinates.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They like send you to a place.
Beautiful.
And when I'm lucky enough to be in the right elevator, and I'm looking up and I'm doing 3 things at once. I'm going, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I'm trying to like remember the feeling, because when I go to chase it later, I'm gonna have to reverse engineer the feeling in order to get to the chord structure.
Mm-hmm.
And 3rd, to just back it up by trying to Shazam it right then and there.
How great is Shazam?
Shazam is a gift.
Yeah, game changer.
Game changer.
Yeah. So if you find one, what do you do with it? Let's say you hear something in that moment, you have that experience, you've Shazammed it.
Yeah.
Next, what happens?
I just want to listen to it over and over and over again. And really understand what I'm feeling and why I feel that way. Because there's a whole like university of science between what's being played and what you're hearing.
Yes. So you're analyzing yourself as much as the music.
Yeah. Because if you don't, then you're not really getting the proper assessment of what's happening. You know? If I'm hearing something, but I'm not paying attention to how I'm feeling, then for me, I don't know what I'm listening. That's my GPS of understanding. That's how I process things. It's how I feel. That everything's cataloged by and categorized by the feeling of it. If I can't see how I feel about it, and I don't even really know what it is. It's just music.
So just give me, you don't have to give me a specific example, but what would be the kind of things that you'd be on the elevator that would stop you in your tracks? Again, you don't have to be specific, but how would you describe what you're hearing?
I'll take it outside of music terms. It's kind of like being at a table with several people. You're in a conversation with someone, and all of a sudden, you realize you've drifted off in thought, and this person is still talking. You hear their voice, but you now no longer know what they're saying.
Yes.
Because you're not connected to, you're not plugged in.
Yes.
To the conversation.
Yes.
So now it's just a bunch of vocal tone.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. If my feeling is not connected to the song, then I don't really know what I'm listening to. Couldn't really tell you what it was.
When you're working on music,
find something that you love to do. Something that you would do for free just because you were happy to be there. Like, you'd be happy to be an intern. Number 2, try to find like a vocation connected to it. Do whatever it takes. Find a vocation that is connected to something that you love so much that you would show up for free. Number 3, if you can find a way to service humanity as well with that job, well, now you have a dream job that you wake up every day and feel like you get paid for free, and you are also contributing to karma, good karma or goodwill. Like, that's the reason why you start a business, if you're going to start one. When we went in the studio with Blurred Lines, it was more or less like, let's just do something fun. That's, everybody's so serious. Like, what are we so mad about? Like, we have good lives. Like, let's push that. Let's talk about that a little bit. kids don't think like that. They think like, do I like you or do I not like you? Do I believe what you're saying in this record or do I not believe what you're saying in this record? What you're saying and what you're doing, does this resonate with me? The melody, is it, you know, am I convicted by it? For a lot of us when we're young, it's like, oh, the big houses, the Ferraris, you know, depending on who you're talking to, the chicks with the spray on tans, you know, the jewelry. For some people that means a lot. And definitely I've made songs that 100% would check that box. But more importantly, what's always been important to me, man, is the music.
Individuality, the quality or character of a particular person, or thing that distinguishes them from others of the same kind. As a creative, one of the most important things you can do is set yourself apart from others in your field. Since the early 2000s, an artist who has demonstrated this concept perfectly is Pharrell Williams. Pharrell has always approached his creative projects from a position of being unique. Whether he was designing clothes, producing tracks for others, or making his own songs, Pharrell has always tried to bring something new to the public.
What keeps Pharrell living with us?
Give me an opportunity to do. You let everybody know what was possible.
Yeah.
Because the other fashion houses weren't doing it.
No, they definitely weren't.
No way.
Maybe I'm not putting myself down. I'm not. But you know, I had the opportunity of a lifetime, you know, being here and being given the freedom and the authority to do what I wanted, and what I wanted to do is what I did. So yeah, luck is opportunity meets preparation, right? So I got to do these things, and I got to do them with you, and I got to do them with Kanye, and I got to do them with Murakami and Stephen Sprouse, and you know, a host of people, because there were people who I looked up to and respected creatively, and all I did was just extend an invitation.
And the collaboration with all those people, all of us as well. The collaboration too, like your, you know, and you know, intuitive and artistic prowess too. Like it was also a masterclass too. Like you're working with somebody that like really gets it.
Pharrell Williams is one of the most prolific producers of all time. He produced iconic tracks like Blurry Lines, Happy, IFHY by Tylerthecreator. So many tracks. He's worked with the greats like Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, Jay-Z. He worked on Magna Carta with Jay-Z. Pharrell is the backbone of music. From the early 2000s till this day. Without Pharrell, music wouldn't ever be the same. Pharrell's production style is very wide, includes all genres, with many chord progression styles, with jazz chords being his favorite, rock chords, hip-hop bass lines and 808s, different style, even Afrobeat chords. Pharrell worked on all types of chords, all types of genres, all types of music. Pharrell sees music differently. He sees music differently from every other producer or artist. His music is inherently different. He stands out from day one, since early 2000s when Pharrell joined the Neptunes.
Chains out, passing joints, and Set It Off is playing, and it's a movie. Another record to me that is had like an 8-year run. White Lines.
Yeah.
How do they just nail each one of Planet Rock, Numbers, Set It Off, and White Lines, and The Message. Each one of those records. So my question is like, How, like, what were those guys feeling? What was Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel feeling when they made the message?
I might argue Scorpio, for that matter, is up there.
Scorpio.
Yeah. When I was DJing, I would always play Scorpio.
Did you do that record too with L?
I don't know.
The Jingling Baby.
No, that's after me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what they sampled.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that was a record.
Yeah. So cool.
That's like, music was a different kind of eclectic then.
Any theories why?
Technology where it was. Instrumentation was still very much so a very big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of predictive default modes in the way that people program now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you don't have to play as much as you can. You know, it's perfect for someone who is a great player or someone who's not the best player but has ideas, has really strong ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes a lot of the experimentation that the machine...
Beautiful albums. Pharrell albums are an experience. They're a one-time experience that you can get nowhere else but from him himself. His production is his superpower. Pharrell as a producer is basically the greatest producer of all time. Pharrell as an artist is one of the most iconic artists of all time. Pharrell inspired greats like Tylerthecreator and so many others. His production style is so iconic and used in many genres, from hip-hop to funk to pop, many genres. Pharrell changed the way we see music, the way we consume music, the way we experience music in general. And, well, he's the most underrated producer of all time. People mention producers like Metro Boomin to be the greatest, but without Pharrell Williams, there will be no Metro Boomin.
I think I'm like pretty much porous at this point. Like, I'm just open, you know. I like the way I work at the moment, but I'm like open to new methods.
When you first started making music, you went from seeming like a hip hop fan into what's the first thing you ever made? Regardless of whether you put it out or not, what was your first experiments in making your own music?
Chad and I, and I haven't mentioned Chad yet, but because I think you asked me a lot of questions in reference to my own personal process, but for a very big part of my career, Chad and I worked together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we tried to do, and we still work together.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, what we always tried to do was reverse engineer the songs that did something to us emotionally and figure out where the mechanism is in there. And as I said to you before, try to figure out if we can build a building that doesn't look the same, but makes you feel the same way.
Yeah.
I did that in Blurred Lines and got myself in trouble.
Yeah.
That's
ridiculously.
Stevie Wonder told me, he said, you gotta get the right musicologists in there because juries don't understand. It's very technical what you've done.
Yeah.
And
because the song is nothing like the song.
Nope. But the feeling was.
Yeah, but the feeling is not something that you can copyright.
No, you can't copyright a feeling.
No.
All salsa songs sound pretty much the same.
Yes, and reggae songs or any genre.
100%.
Trap music sounds relatively similar.
Yeah, but here's the difference.
Yeah.
What we failed, and it hurt my feelings because I would never take anything from anyone.
Of course.
And that really set me back. I made Missy Elliott's Where They From in the middle of that trial. But I was really hurt because what I realized all too late was what he was trying to tell me is I need about them.
And I think that like individuality is a wonderful thing. It's the reason why Drake is so good. It's the reason why Lord is so good. You know, it's the reason why, you know, the West Coast own Tylerthecreator and our Future and Kendrick Lamar. Like these are all, like none of those guys sound alike, yet and still they're all out at the same time.
Right.
Doing their, you know, perspective things, right? So it's betting on yourself and betting on your difference.
Approaching your art with the mindset of being unique is what sparks innovation. And the most innovative ideas are always the most interesting ideas. The only way to truly create something unique is to step outside of your comfort zone. Almost all growth and new creations come from exploring things that lie outside of your comfort zone. Pharrell has a great understanding of this and uses it when he works with other artists so that they can bring about some new ideas when creating in the studio.
Hung up at the door. I'm not one of those guys that are like, you know, oh, this is a 9/8 time signature. This is amazing. That just feels like math to me. I think I get blown away by chord progressions that make me feel something I've never felt before. Like to me, chords are coordinates.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They like send you to a place.
Beautiful.
And when I'm lucky enough to be in the right elevator, and I'm looking up and I'm doing 3 things at once. I'm going, what is that? Number 2, I'm trying to like remember the feeling, because when I go to chase it later, I'm gonna have to reverse engineer the feeling in order to get to the chord structure. And 3rd, to just back it up by trying to Shazam it right then and there. I find that it's better to chase a feeling in a direction and allow the automatic flow, the intuitive part of you take over versus the ego, which is going through the library of everything you've accumulated, everything you know, and that, well, this is gonna be it, and this is, where it almost always failed. Created at a time when the zeitgeist was progressive for that time. But then when you look over your shoulder, you realize that even in, you know, the need to progress was still so much super wrong shit. I mean, like LGBTQIA, they were like really not even allowed to exist, with the exception of being mocked as men cross-dressing for a joke or cross-dressing for a show. Other than that, that just didn't happen. And they, you know, it was okay to call them names and be incredibly disrespectful to people's feelings. That would never fly. But I mean, if you really know his life story, like, I mean, he didn't have anything against anyone.
No.
And maybe he could have for that reason. But the language that he used was because it was pushing it for that time.
Yes. It was of the moment. You can't take art out of the context in which it was made.
Yeah. And art is expression, and the art of art, you know, the power of art, what gives art its pertinence is when people are pushing it.
Yeah.
He would be pushing it in a completely different way right now.
But the world was a different place, so he would be pushing it maybe in the same way, but it would feel completely different in today's world because the world's different.
Yeah.
So the context would change everything.
Yes.
Yeah. But he would.
There will be no Metro Boomin. Pharrell Williams is also a designer and is the creative director of Louis Vuitton currently. Creativity has no bounds for Pharrell Williams, and he has continued to perform greatness and make music that has changed the world over and over again. We can change the world like Pharrell if only we seek adventure. Leave our comfort zones, embrace creativity, create our art with love in our hearts, truly seek adventure, and can change our lives. Be like Pharrell Williams. You can change the world. Seek adventure.
And what I am seeking to match the feeling in is like 80s power band chords. I still reach out, hey, you guys, just want to be clear, this feels the same to me.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
Here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this. How do you feel about this? You know, just having those kinds of conversations. If someone is just like completely outlandish about something, I'm like, all right, I'm cool on you. Like, whatever, which never happens. This was just like a freak situation.
Absolutely.
That was meant to humble me, to teach me a lesson.
Yeah.
And I think that lesson was just be very clear in what my intentions are, and to just not assume that everybody understands the difference between rayon and silk.
Yeah.
I made rayon.
Yes.
He made silk.
Yes. Sometimes you want rayon.
Yeah.
Depends on the use.
Yeah.
There's a reason rayon exists.
100%.
What's the most fun or exciting moment for you in the process?
When you make something and you're like, I gotta play this again. You know?
Yeah.
Only a couple times in my career I made something like that, where me and my wife, we just play it over and over and over. We go on a ride, and we'll look up and we've been driving for like 45 minutes to an hour. Couple times.
It's a great feeling.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I love the moment when we're working in the studio patiently, waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And something goes from not so interesting to really interesting, and not much changed.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Our success is defined by all the people who help you, all the people around you, all of the factors. In the equation, there's an equation for success, and you're only one, you yourself are only one part of it. There's a constellation of like many contributors to my success. When I turned 40, I understood that it wasn't me. And I realized, because I would say, oh, we're gonna do this, and it would work or not work, right? And then when it worked, you're like the man. When it doesn't work, it's like, oh, let's try again. Those are the things that humbled me, because I didn't plan it. And when you don't plan it, and it becomes bigger than anything that your ego had ever made before, then you stop beating your chest, and you start putting your hands together and saying thank you. Get lucky, happy, any of those songs. I didn't see it. So for me, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm literally just a molecule in a great body of existence, and some of which I have some control over, but a lot of it I don't. When you realize that, that's when you start really enjoying life, because like great things happen and you just know, wow, this is bigger than. Present my vision to Mr. Arnaud, which is the future of chic, which I think is dandy. And he liked it, and pretty much everything you saw in the collection in the first show is what we presented. And then we signed on Valentine's Day, which was crazy. It's like weird, but awesome. And I haven't been home since then. So it's like we just been here. Found a place. Still love my place in Miami, which is what we're gonna do when we go in Christmas, for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it here, man. My whole mindset has shifted. Like seeing what is possible has been given new definition and new context with this appointment, and what it's afforded me, like this different POV of Paris.
And I hang out. I hang with my kids, my family. I work. And I've always worked hard, but I probably work harder than I ever have in my life. And I make music upstairs. And it's crazy. It's the room that he used to be in.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Before we leave,
yeah,
if you come up, that'd be
Sure.
awesome. And I, started wearing like, Chanel pieces that I thought I could pull off. Not because they were more masculine, but because I felt like the silhouette or the shape just lended itself to looking good on a human. So I would wear pearls. I would wear like, a sweater that made sense, that looked like it.
Out of our control, Can't make that happen.
No.
It's just patience.
No. I don't think we don't make much happen when it comes to creativity. We're just antennas and transistors.
Yes.
We're speakers. We're just lucky to get the transmission.
Yeah. When did your interest in fashion begin?
Oh, ever since I realized I didn't have it. When I was young. And my other friends would come to class with like Jordans and all these other things. I would always say, man, if I get those, man, I would like see those in green. And so when given an opportunity, I just started like doing it just because I was so appreciative to be able to do it.
Do you see it as the same as making music?
Making?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same.
You're using the same muscles.
Same process.
Yeah. Definitely using the same muscles.
Yeah. Anything else you'd be interested in applying those muscles to that you haven't yet?
Well, first of all, like the one thing that's definitely on my mind before I leave is that we have to do something together. You don't need me. I definitely need you. I'm not sure for what yet. I don't know what you're working on, but I'm so down. You're like...
We'll find something important to do together.
I would be so honored.
You talked about you and Chad starting together, making music. How would you say the process of making music has changed from before doing anything, starting as a kid, being a fan, making music, till now? What's changed?
I guess being a family man. More of a family man than I ever was. I always said that I was gonna have like 4 kids. I didn't know I was really gonna have 4 kids. I always said it.
Yeah.
And we went from 1 to 4.
Incredible.
That's the only difference. I love music. Music is the key that's open, it's the skeleton key that's opened every door for me, including this one right here. Who knew on the other side of chord structures that would make me emotional as a child would lead to this moment right here? Like on the other side of listening to, Q-Tip sampling Roy Ayers Music Productions Daylight to make Bonita Applebum, on the other side of my infatuation with that song and listening to it over and over again on repeat, on the other side of that, of those chords, was the distance to this moment. Nothing's changed.
All built on music.
100%.
The mountain of song.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're very lucky that we get to play in this world so much.
Yeah. I want this for everybody. I want everybody to wake up every day going, how did this happen? I love doing this. I feel like I get paid for free. So I'm doing what I love to do. I want that for everybody. This place is amazing. This interview was, awesome. Just so grateful for this opportunity to be able to sit with you, and to me, that's how awesome the universe is. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, we are blessed.
Like I got a chance to sit and talk to you. The universe works it out that way. Like you're doing one thing, okay, and you're also gonna sit down and have this conversation with Boomin.
Thank you for making the long journey out here. They're trying to silence the voices of hip hop.
They're at it again.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Beings, it is in our nature to notice things that stand out. If your goal is to draw attention to your work, be unique. There is only one you. So step outside of your comfort zone and find new inspirations. Remember, individuality is key to understanding your vision.
Well, the genuine feeling is just that. It's authentic. So
Very grateful.
You get what you came for.
Yes. I will always be forever grateful to this guy.
And likewise.
And your family.
Likewise.
Yes.
Yeah. And your family.
Thank you, brother.
You're a beautiful family.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a beautiful family.
Thank you.
How do they like being here?
I think, well, they love it. But it's obviously a different universe, right?
Right. Culture shock.
Yeah. But they love it and they're embracing it. It's just interesting to see them like circumnavigate.
Yeah. Of course.
But yeah, they love it. This doesn't get old. You know where we are right now?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking to? You know what's happening? My greatest job is not waking up. This is a dream. That's the only hard job I got. It's like, don't wake up.
I don't want to go touching your fucking hair.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's insane. If you need to change the hour, you just change that. Wow. The same place. That's so sick. That's crazy.
It's about chasing a direction versus giving your spirit a directive. I find that like people who say this is gonna be a hit are just as unsuccessful as those who create hashtags. Let's do a hashtag call for action. It never works.
Right.
We just ideate. People don't have to respond.
Let's say you hear something in that moment, you have that experience, you Shazammed it.
Yeah.
Next, what happens?
I just want to listen to it over and over and over again. And really understand what I'm feeling and why I feel that way. Because there's a whole like university of science between what's being played and what you're hearing.
Yes. So you're analyzing yourself as much as the music.
Yeah. Because if you don't, then you're not really getting the proper assessment of what's happening. If I'm hearing something, but I'm not paying attention to how I'm feeling, then for me, I don't know what I'm listening. That's my that's my GPS of understanding. That's how I process things, is how I feel. That everything's cataloged by and categorized by the feeling of it. If I can't see how I feel about it, then I don't even really know what it is. It's just music.